The best financial planning is typically when you don't do anything. Louis Rukeyser used to say back in the day, don't just do something, sit there, as opposed to don't just sit there, do something. Louis Rukeyser said, don't just do something, sit there. So let me just explain what real financial planning is to the chagrin of many in my business. Real financial planning isn't just managing money, creating busy work, because there's no reason to do that for sure. And yet a lot of people, clients and planners, think you need to be actively managing money to kind of, show your value. I guess show I'm doing something. No way, man. That's waste of time. Certainly it's not worth the fee you're paying. The best financial planning is finding, this is what I do. And I want to be very clear why I do this, because I think it's important for anyone who's looking to hire a financial planner. A real financial planner should be looking to make sure you're not going to capsize, that your boat's not going to sink, you're not going into a freaking frenzy of a Niagara Falls. And if there are things that could be working against you to capsize your boat, you plug those holes before they take you out. That's what financial planning is. That's what I look at it. What are the freaking monsters under the bed that could gobble you up at when you're least expecting it? And so let me share with you, a lot of the guys I deal with are more engineering minds, guys and ladies, more engineering mindset. They enjoy spreadsheets and things like that. It's very analytical. And a lot of financial planners don't like those folks. I love them because I like the analytical stuff. And many of these people realize there's no answer. Even though their engineering mindset, they think there might be an answer, a solution. A lot of them recognize in financial planning there is not any. There's speculation and there's strategy, but there's no necessary X plus Y equals Z moment. There's no eureka moment that says we've just solved this equation. It doesn't work like that in financial planning because there's too many things that are unknown, too many variables. And that can be bothersome to some folks. They like to say, I want to have a course of action that is going to help me. And you're like, and a lot of times you sit there and say, but your course of action, you've already established it. There's nothing changing to be done. Now, for me, we'll talk Social Security, we'll talk Roth conversions, investment allocation. And I believe in indexing, so I don't even talk investments that much. But I'll tell you, share the guy, the lady I dealt with yesterday, wonderful people in a high tax state up north. It's interesting because, this guy had his stuff squared away, and the lady's smart as a whip too. And so these guys are just great. And there wasn't much that I suggested. I mean, they already had living trust. They already had trustees set up. They already had, we want to make sure that durable powers of attorney. But I mean, basically, they were already situated well. Their investments were good. We talked a little bit about investment. We'll get in that here in just a second. But it was, we talked about but they already had a plan of action. They just wanted confirmation. Now, some folks will say it's not worth, paying some guy for a confirmation. Others would say, no, it's absolutely worth it. Because I don't want someone to say, like he told me, he goes, man, I went to a bunch of financial advisors. They all want to sell me something, manage my money, sell me insurance. And I just want a confirmation that I'm not missing something. And that is, so great. So we're sitting there, we're going to do mass amounts of Roth conversions. Now, this is actually the exception to the rule for the folks I deal with. Because a lot of folks I deal with, they have pensions, and the pensions makes it a challenge, man. I'm telling you, having a pension makes Roth conversions a big fat challenge because we're literally pulling income forward in which to pay tax on it that you might, A, never have to pay tax on because you'll be dead, or B, who knows that the taxes might probably be the exact level where they are today. We don't know, but it's you've got to convince me it makes sense to go into a 24 to 32% tax bracket to avoid paying a 22 or 24% tax bracket in the future. That's the opportunity cost of that taxes doesn't make sense to me. Now, if we know that there's going to be a higher tax bracket because your wife's going to survive you and all that, that's different. But a lot of times, if you got a pension, it doesn't make sense to pull that money forward, especially if there's like a survivor benefit or a 50% joint life survivor annuity. It doesn't make sense to do that. because you're literally, when you die, your surviving spouse is going to lose one of your social securities, and in this case, the SBP, survivor benefit plan, is only 55% of your military pension, or if you have a 50 or 75% joint life survivor annuity, if you even have a survivor annuity. It doesn't make sense. So anyway, where I'm going with this. So these guys, but these guys didn't have a pension, so we're going to start doing Roth conversions pretty significantly too, and they're going to move everything they have is in an IRA 401k, and they got some cash on the side, about $200,000 in cash. So the one of the things he wanted to know, because he looks at my videos on asset location, where I say don't hold bonds and taxable accounts. We want that to be invested aggressively, like the total stock index fund. So his question, and rightly so, is a good question. Well, do you think that I should go ahead and invest my money that's in CDs or cash? And the answer is no, because when you start doing Roth conversions next year, you'll want to have the cash at the ready to pay the taxes, if that makes sense. We don't want you to have to sell something to pay taxes on Roth conversions. Heaven forbid, if we can avoid it, we don't want you to have to pull more out of your 401k IRA in which to generate the cash to pay the taxes. That's not good planning. So I said, no, in this case, don't. So what he's going to do, he's basically he and she, and when I say he, I'm saying the plural, they are 65, 35, and what they're going to do is they're going to start doing, significant amounts of Roth conversions to start, getting that Roth account open, and they're going to do VTSAX, Vanguard Total Stock Index, which I recommend. So that's what you should do. Make that sucker aggressive as all can be. So essentially what's happening, they have X amount of cash, a huge amount in IRAs, and huge is relative, but a huge amount in IRAs and nothing Roth. They're going to start transitioning more and more into the Roth each and every year. And so what will happen is essentially they're creating their 3 bucket. They're going to have VTSAX and Roth, that's your growth bucket, Wellington and IRAs, a fund similar to Wellington, that kind of mix, and then they'll have cash. It's a perfect scenario. But what happens is as that IRA starts getting depleted and more gets in the Roth, then it'll start skewing their overall asset allocation from 65-35 to 70-30 to 75-25. And then I said, in that case, then you're going to want to start, and this is what he said, what we agreed, is that you're going to want to start moving that IRA to Wellesley Fund to offset the fact that your Roth is increasing relative to the rest of your portfolio. Anyway, but this guy knew all this stuff. He knew it. He knew about, staying at the 24% tax bracket. He knew if he went just a little bit over the 32%, it's not going to kill him, but he knew this. Most of the people I deal with know. They say, I just want a confirmation that I'm not missing something. We talk about living trust. We talk about durable powers of attorney. We talk about Social Security. But there's really nothing for me to do. I'm sitting there thinking, you were talking all this stuff. And at the end of the day, it's just a relief that he said, okay, as long as I'm not missing anything here, and you're not missing anything. And that's the great thing about most of the clients I deal with, is that most of them just need confirmation. I just want to make sure. And I also want to make sure my wife is squared away in case I die. I get that all the time. But someone to say that's not financial planning because you're not really getting deep into looking at PE ratios on stocks and all that stuff. And I said, why even mess with that? Or someone say, I don't even know what else you say. It's like, I sit there, I'm saying, the boat is steady as she goes, man. Steady as she goes. And it's, we talked health. When you get, it's such that's financial planning. That gets me excited. Now, some people need that little bit more of a swift kick in the butt. Usually that they can retire. But we run the numbers, we say you can retire. You're not going to retire. And that gives them a sense of relief. But again, are we doing real financial planning? Yes! Are we doing real financial planning, the construct of what everyone else has been doing for the last 25 years, which is managing money for a fee for some ungodly reason? No! That's not financial planning. That's investment management, and that's a net losing proposition. Oh, financial planning is such a wonderful thing if you do it right, which is, look, if the freaking boat is steady as she goes and sailing on smooth water, then freaking just see if there's any risk out there that's going to sink that sucker. Are there holes on the bottom that need to be plugged? If there are, plug those suckers. Other than that, man, just carry on, and we'll see you next year. Oh, I love it. That's where the engineering mindset really excites me, because most of those guys and ladies get it. They say, okay, I know there's no answer. I know there's no documentation that's going to solve a crisis or solve something, I can't predict 20 to 25 years from now, hell, 10 years from now. And on top of that, I'm smart enough to be able to figure out where I need to be, what I needed to do, and it's just such a wonderful thing. I just need confirmation, and I want to pay somebody that's not going to sell me a bunch of crap. Does that make sense? And that's what makes financial planning so great. Again, as Louis Rukeyser said, and we'll finish this off, don't just do something, sit there. Now, if you need to have something done, you need to do something. But man, if there's no risk, no monsters under the bed, just pat yourself on the back and say, man, we're looking good. All right, we'll see you.